Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Going Nuclear. I'm here with Aiman, who is a leader in the nuclear energy space. She has a background in mechanical engineering, works at Bruce Power, but also is the president of Women in Nuclear. Aiman, welcome.
Thank you.
So let's start from the beginning. How did you get into the nuclear industry?
So I kind of stumbled upon nuclear industry. I actually had aspired to be in the automotive sector. So I started my undergrad in automotive engineering at Ontario Tech. And around 2008, 2009 economic crash, um, a lot of the automotive sector in Canada was shutting down. And at that time, I had to make a decision. Do I want to leave Canada? And I wanted to stay here. So I made a pivot in my undergrad to come out of automotive engineering and do mechanical mechatronics. So that's what I switched into at Ontario Tech. And still at that time, I was really passionate about robotics and automotive and how, the assembly lines worked. And I stumbled upon one of the courses at the nuclear faculty in Ontario Tech, which was power plant operations as my elective. And there I started interacting with some of the nuclear engineers and came to know the vast, job opportunities in the nuclear sector. So an internship at Bruce Power came and I applied to that, which was in OMAS engineering. So outage maintenance services on their specialized tool engineering section, which looked after Andy cigar, which I didn't know what it was. So I applied and I said, hey, I'm passionate about robotics. I want to come from work for Bruce Power, kind of not knowing how much robotics played into the nuclear sector. So I started my internship and I learned a lot in those 16 months at Bruce Power. Came to know that inspection robots are mainly robotics. At that time, Bruce Power was going through some of its new tooling, which was brims and motor. And I became part of that. And that became my passion. I came back to finish my last year and I said, you know what? I think I want to go into nuclear. So I stepped into Bruce Power, backup Bruce Power in projects, looking after some of the tooling programs. And that's when I started to pivot towards, this is a very satisfying career. Then from there, I kind of focused on my technical journey and, started to look into reactor design. From there, worked on MCR project. That's where I work currently. And yeah, so that's kind of like how my technical journey involved and my entry into nuclear. It was just, I would say sometimes a fluke, but a really good fluke. And yeah, so I think from that perspective, it was great. And then from there, I've always, a lot of people have told me you have like raw leadership, project management skill set. And I love technical. I'm a through and through technical person. I love robots. I love walking down in the plant. I came on to the MCR project as an owner's engineer for fuel tunnels and feeders program. And there I got a slight nudge from the project team to say, hey, you have a great technical skill set. You should come over to the project side because we need people that understand the technical aspect of a project, but then can also run projects really well. So I came into project management on the FCFR side. So I'd done the technical, moved into project management, and from there we started to form a pretty good set of individuals that came from technical into projects. And I think the pivoting moment where I thought, okay, leadership is for me was during Unit 6 refurb. We're going through a pandemic And at that time, you have a lot of uncertainty. A lot of your team is concerned as to what would happen. And you're also, kind of trying to keep your project's timelines to go as per plan. We did have a technical issue that, kind of got me involved as one of the hit team leaders to look at and solve rapidly. And that was the aha moment where I was talking to my technical staff and really getting them to, look at not just the technical aspect, but the project aspect. And they're, just the inspiration in talking to the technical folks and letting them know, why as a project leader you're doing or you're taking actions, I think really helped because, one, you came from a technical background. They really looked at you as a technical leader, and then you understanding the project aspect of it, of why, we sometimes have to make decisions with the information available. That was a moment in my time where I said, I think, we need more people. So that's when I said, you know what? Even though I love technical, I should be part of the project side, to one, be the voice for the technical team, but also the level setting on the technical side. Sometimes, we go into, we say this a lot, analysis paralysis, right? So when is enough, right? So in that journey, the leaders at my company were kind of looking at me on as to like what's next, Ammon. So um, I have, I'll give a shout out to one of my mentors, Mike Renchak. I had a conversation with him, and he said, "You know what, Emin, you're at the right time in your career to go get an MBA." And he said, "You know what, like." Because if you go too far into your career, you might find it hard with the responsibilities that you'll take on from your personal and your project, life. So I said, okay, you know what? Maybe this is what I should do. So it was kind of a nudge, and I started looking at executive MBA programs within Canada, and I again, my life is full of like, just kind of accidentally stumbling upon something. And I stumbled upon the MIT Sloan Executive MBA program, where one of the courses on their negotiation really spoke to me. And I was stepping into a project, senior program manager role, about to, negotiate a multi-billion-dollar contract for execution. So I wanted to just learn those skills. Yeah. I wanted to learn those skills. And so I reached out to them and I said, hey, I'm looking to just learn one or two courses, understand, how I should manage myself when I'm stepping into a project leader role and negotiating big contracts. And they said to me, I mean, you know what? I think, you might be a candidate for our executive MBA program. And I said, "Really?" It's kind of like, I don't know if this is for me. And yeah, so I put kind of my application together for that, and this is like all within that few months, and they're having a cohort start in September of 2022. And yeah, I got in, and I started that program. That program was phenomenal from a perspective of what it brought in terms of broadening my perspective on the MBA side of
Hmm.
the program.
So quick question. What is the difference between an executive MBA and a regular MBA program?
So, difference between a regular MBA and an executive MBA is regular MBA, one, you can do it part time over, let's say, 4 years because you don't have the right experience yet. So maybe it's just 2 to 5 years. You're kind of early in your career. So you go through a regular MBA. You can do it part time. You can do it full time. 2 years. Executive MBA is kind of geared towards leaders that are 10 years or more into their career, in a leadership position or on a trajectory to be senior leaders in their organization, and they're working full time. So that was the hard part of doing that MBA and flying to Boston. Was doing my, working full time on the MCR project, and then taking that flight every 2 weeks, and being part of the cohort there, and then flying back. But the great thing about that was you were rapidly learning, and you were coming back to work, and you were applying your learnings in rapid speed. So I think that was really fruitful. And yeah, so that was kind of the differentiator between that. It's still 2-year program. So you do take the same amount of courses, but you're taking it over a Friday and a weekend, and coming back and applying that to your team or to your projects.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Um, yeah. And how was that experience like?
That experience is phenomenal. I think one, MIT being a school for engineering, and then having the project management aspect to it. So there was a lot of courses. Usually, a lot of courses in executive MBA program are kind of at the surface. They're really high level. You're not really digging into a lot of the nitty gritty of, finance or, data analytics. So there, because it's an engineering school, you were kind of learning from the ground up. So their thought process on curating the courses for the executive MBA program is to make sure that once you leave from there, not only you know what questions to ask your team, but you know how to do it and you know how to drill down. So that was a different aspect of it. And the other piece is they curate a team from around the world. So you are sitting across from leaders that, hold um, C-suite positions in, companies that are on S&P. And the learning from within your cohort, plus from professors, you have a lot of the professors who are Nobel laureate that you're learning from, doing other great research into different sectors. But one of their focuses at MIT, which really spoke to me, was climate change, AI, and innovation. And I think, to combine all of that in an MBA program and really get the leaders to look at the impact you as individuals and you as leading organizations can have, was a phenomenal experience.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I think the nuclear industry kind of is in a bubble. You have the S&P 500, you have these big companies, Jip Tech, and they all kind of know what's going on, right? They're
Yeah.
they're in their own ecosystem. And we have nuclear on an island, which is like, yeah, we're operations heavy. We are focused on what we're doing. So it's cool that you had an experience to kind of jump into the ocean
Yeah.
and, develop those connections and network, and also experience what it's like to be on the other side. What was that like?
So being on the other side, and I think I was at a very pivotal moment. That's when ChatGPT came out. You had the COP28, where a lot of nations signed on to include nuclear as part of climate change initiative or solution. So from that, being the only person from the nuclear sector and from Canada, who's leading the charge in nuclear renaissance, the class was really excited to learn about one, the reefer project, because I talked often about that as in my class examples, as well as, the investment behind it. So I had a lot of VCs, inquiring about what is the investment? Can we invest? Now knowing that there is multiple data centers across the world that are not powered up because there is a shortage of power. So I had people from Amazon in the class, from Google, from Microsoft, and they were kind of looking to solve problems into their own organizations, And all of a sudden, people are like, okay, nuclear is really part of the conversation here. I saw that shift happen where, at the start of my cohort, where people were like, oh, nuclear, what do you guys like? What do you guys do? What are the big things you're doing? And I talked about the refurb, and they were like, there's refurbishment in nuclear. We thought, you operate and you shut down a plant and that's it, right? And there's innovation in nuclear. There's like robotics in nuclear. So this was, um, I saw that shift, and then I had the opportunity of actually hosting some of my cohort at Bruce Power
Whoa. Okay.
to
How was
walk
that?
them through what the plant is all about. They got to see it firsthand what waste management looks like.
Yeah.
And they went back and became champions of nuclear power. We had around 25 people from MIT that we hosted on
Nice.
site. We spent around 2 days with them. So walking them through our net zero initiatives, walking them through our reefer project, uh, isotopes, uh, you know, walking through the plant, looked at our emergency services side of the house, how ready we are from the perspective of any sort of, disaster management. As well as waste management with OPG at the facility. So that really broadened, their understanding of what nuclear is and how controlled nuclear energy is. And one of the most amazing parts of that tour was when I had asked my cohort to be part of that, the word had gotten out. So I had a couple of attendees from different cohorts, and I get this ask often now from MIT. When am I hosting the next tour? So really, it has started to get people interested, and from there, now in that tour we had a one of the VCs had attended, and he's been, really talking it up in tech and saying, you know what, we have to get in and invest into nuclear because that is a clean energy solution. So I think it just takes that one bit of just inviting them, showing them what it is, because not a lot of people outside of the nuclear sector understand, one, how safe it is, how controlled it is, how passionate people are about safety that work at these plants. So the feedback I had was, do you guys do something about your culture, or is it like every single person we talk to is this excited and this invested? And I think we don't take that as our wins, but if you look all around, we're all very passionate about keeping our plants, operating safe, reliable projects on time, on budget. So that was, an eye-opening moment for me that we kind of take it as a granted. And we don't think that this is the passion that, other industries don't have, but we have. And I think just by educating and inviting more people to look at what nuclear power is and what we can, provide for the community, uh, we can we can change minds.
Yeah. Honestly, that's so cool. That you had that experience of hosting your colleagues at Bruce Power, right? Because hey, getting onto a nuclear site for those that are listening, it's not easy, right? Like no one gets access just like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's exciting for them. It's a really exciting opportunity for them to actually have that experience, and also open up their minds to nuclear. And also, I think it's always a learning experience because we take things for granted and we don't always see the passion that we already have in the industry.
Yeah.
But when someone tells us, hey, listen, like they're observing things and repeating it back to us, it's like an eye opening experience. We're like, wow, yeah, actually, we are crazy passionate, like
Exactly. Like,
compared to other industries.
yeah, and I was like, oh, I never noticed it because like that's how all of us are. So having that pointed out was kind of amazing, and I thought, okay, and now I take a note, right? So I think that's what keeps this industry going, and that's the momentum I think we've created, and we need to keep up because the passion is there, the drive is there. Now we just got to charge forward, right?
MBAs are really interesting for me because I'm sure it's an incredible opportunity for you to learn how to maximize your networking skills, develop, collaborating with others, and taking those skill sets and bringing them into the industry. I see you doing that with women in nuclear. I see that you're doing that with your technical experiences. Tell me about how those experiences in the MBA are now being translated to your current role now.
So the MBA at MIT was a bit more technical than other MBAs. So one of the things was there was a heavy focus on analytics, data analytics. So that's one of the pieces I've brought back into my work. We've created a data analytics team within my department, and we're looking at how do we analyze information in rapid speed in our major component reefer project at Bruce Power, and how do we implement that into the next unit, and where can we hone in for the right amount of investments, because we've seen data against it to improve that area. So that was one. From women in nuclear perspective, understanding where climate change is and the climate crisis we have on our hands. So that was one of discussions in our classes on system dynamics. So looking at how different systems, how different decisions help to propel industries or actually collapse them, or nations. So that was an eye-opening, I would say, course where we looked at what one decision can do to propel the next generation of whatever, right? So in this case, this is about women in nuclear. What can we do today to, really get into that reinforcing loop of how can we get this momentum that we have and exponentially grow it? So I came back and had a lot of ideas on programming and how can we really hone in to have curated programming for women in the industry to propel them forward. So I think those were the two main learnings that I kind of brought back, and were very unique courses that were offered at MIT, that really impacted my work as well as my non-for-profit side of life. So I think, again, MBA doesn't come in with just helping you propel as a leader, but it can really help your organization, but also broaden your understanding of the world. We had a course on leading in a global context. So you understand, going into different nations, and what are the items that you need to be cognizant of when you're walking into, be it a different culture, different religion, different language, um, and how do you lead in that? And how do you lead when, you are let's say, Canada, and trying to expand worldwide and go into different areas, and what you should be considering from a geopolitical aspect. So that makes you understand a world a little bit better. And again, that was something that I thought was fundamentally, from a technical aspect, was missing in my understanding. So when I took that, I came back and I said, okay, now you know what, I can understand how, if I have to step in to a role where I'm expanding and bringing different minds and different ideas into the fold, what do I need to consider, right? And that also kind of aligns with our work with the Indigenous community, right? How do we make sure that they're part of the conversation along with them and decision making? So again, MBA has many different, I think, aspects, and taking that, especially for technical folks, I think it definitely broadens your horizon of understanding and your impact as a leader.
For sure. No, that's awesome. That's great. I don't have many people on from Bruce Power on this podcast, but I think a lot of people are interested in Bruce Power because, especially living in the Bruce area, it's more rural, I would say, than Toronto. Like you have major power plants in Toronto or even other parts of the world. What's it like working in the Bruce area? Like tell us a little bit about your experience there.
So I've been at site for about, I would say, 14 years, and I love it. I came from a small town, which is no longer small, Whitby. I grew up there. And I came to Kincardine, and that's been, it gives me that small hometown feel. But one of the amazing part of working at Bruce Power is the fact that in your community, majority of the people work at Bruce Power. So one, you have that small community feel, but you also have the drive at Bruce Power to make sure that, these plants are operating safely because everyone has, their families nearby. So that's one. And the other is that community feel, right? So you go into work and these are people that in most cases you spend a lot of time outside of work. So again, summers are amazing at Bruce Power. So definitely recommend that if somebody has not been to the area, definitely come and visit us in the summertime. Winter, you know, uh, this winter was tough for us. We had quite a bit of snowstorms, but having said that, there is such a sense of community that let's say, if your power was out, somebody would say, like, come and just, crash at our place. Or if you're like, there's been a time where my car was stuck in the driveway and my one of my managers came out and actually picked me up from home and took me to work. So there's that sense of community that you have at work, and then you also carry that into the community. That is a very unique experience that you would never have when you're in, working for a utility that is kind of situated in a city or in a larger space where, the population is mixed. So that's the difference working at Bruce Power. Very close knit, very community feel. And yeah, I really enjoy it. It's a small town feel. Everything's safe. You can leave, your door open, your car open, and have your neighbors look after your house if you're on vacation. So during the winter storm this year, I was on vacation, and when I came back, my driveway was all clean. So my neighbors had thought, okay, she's not home, so let's just clean up her driveway. So it just like phenomenal because these are the individuals that I also work with at work. So that's what I enjoy about working at Brace Power.
Yeah, honestly, that's awesome. I spent a summer up in the Bruce area. I
Yeah.
was living in Port Elgin,
Okay.
and that summer was probably one of the most fun summers I've ever had.
Yeah.
Right, like playing like soccer every day, ultimate frisbee, and it's not only like the young people; it's also like everyone's coming out. Right,
Exactly.
everyone's coming. Like it's so organized,
Yeah.
and we're hanging out. We're going out to eat as a community because I think it's so nice to just be with the people that you work and develop. It strengthens those relationships.
Exactly.
Like you're near Lake Huron, which is like incredible, like
Like,
crystal blue waters.
awesome is it that, you finish your work and you go for a dip, right? So very few times you can do that. I love the sunset at Kincardine,
Yeah.
just
Oh yeah.
beautiful. So that's one of my go-to things in the summer is most of the time at the end of the workday, you would find me at the beach looking at the sunset. It is one of the most beautiful sunsets that you would see in Ontario.
Oh yeah, it's awe-inspiring. Like it's incredible. Like I've taken a couple of videos there,
Yeah,
and just it's like wow, how come this sunset doesn't happen at Lake Ontario? You know what I mean? So I agree. I think it's a really special place, and it's a really interesting place out there. So I do recommend those who are interested to definitely visit if they ever have the opportunity.
or come work for us.
Why not? Why not? So there's a lot of excitement here at the CNA, the Canadian Nuclear Association conference. Um, we I had a chance to cross paths with you at the NAYGN conference. I heard like an amazing, an amazing presentation from you about your career journey. And this is a great opportunity to reconnect. Um, so I'm happy we had the opportunity to do that. How has your experience been at the CNA conference?
At the CNA Conference this year, one, I think, just seeing this increase over the years, um, into 1,700 attendees and have wait list, that just shows the momentum that Canadian nuclear sector is currently at the forefront of. So that's one. The other is, it feels like a smaller community. I say this to people that over the years I haven't realized how many people I know once I get to CNA. And it's like, reconnecting with old colleagues or be it vendors or clients. It's a lot of people would say, "Oh, 1,700, it's quite large," right? But I feel like it's like 1,700 of my community, right? It's big, but it feels small. The momentum, the energy at CNA this year is just beyond words. You can just feel the room vibrate with energy and say, okay, we're getting ready for something phenomenal. And not that we're not doing phenomenal things. Um, I just think there's more to come and more that Canada is going to offer. And I am so excited for CNA and where CNA would be in a couple of years. Because we have really made a mark internationally on being very bullish in our approach with nuclear energy. So yeah, so I think I have enjoyed it thoroughly. I'm going back with this sense of, one belonging, but the energy of like, we've got this, right? We've got this. We're gonna do awesome things together as a community around the world. So yeah, so that's been kind of like my takeaway from CNA.
This
That's all.
episode is being recorded live at the annual CNA Conference, Canada's largest gathering of professionals from across the nuclear industry. If you want to know more about the association's work, please click on the link in the description below.
From CNA.
That's awesome. So you are the president of Women in Nuclear, which is Women in Nuclear Canada, which is a credible organization doing a lot of work for gender equality in the nuclear industry. The nuclear industry, for those watching, has been very male dominant and not very diverse. And I think things are changing, which is really, really positive. So it's inspiring for me to see you take on that role. Tell me about your experiences with that so far.
So the experience has been great. The support I've gotten from the leaders around me, and not just, I would say, women leaders, but the leaders in industry stepping into this role. Lisa McBride, who's our past president, was president for 5 years, and those are big shoes to fill. So stepping into that role, especially when she's created the momentum that when Canada is at. So when she stepped into the role and we were around at 2,000 members, we've increased to 4,000 in our presidency. And since I've taken over, we're rapidly increasing anywhere from, 2 to 5% give and take on a month, which is quite rapid growth for a non-for-profit organization. And we're opening, chapters. We have a chapter in Manitoba now, uh, in Alberta, Saskatchewan. So we're expanding across the nation. So that's the momentum that you have to stabilize, and make sure that you're catering to your membership and what they're asking for. Um, so it's been I would say challenging and a rewarding experience thus far, and I'm only getting started. I'm looking to do some great things and move the needle on gender parity and equal by 30, which when Canada is also a signatory on. Um, and looking to see where the organization goes during our presidency and how we can keep this momentum going for the years to come.
That's awesome. That's phenomenal. Yeah, I have a baby sister who is doing engineering.
Amazing.
Yeah, I like to say I think I inspired her. Yeah, one of the first things I told her was, "Hey, listen, you should be involved in women in nuclear because
Definitely.
I'm a big believer in having spaces where you feel comfortable, and I think that's really important, especially where in the nuclear industry, you got that macho type of industry where you may go into the power plant and you may not always feel comfortable because you're the only woman there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I feel as though creating those safe spaces where you can have that mentorship, you can have that dialogue where you can walk in and actually be your authentic self
Yeah.
without any hesitation. I think that's incredible. So really want to thank you for creating those spaces.
Thank you.
For my sister watching, I hope you're listening to this and
Yeah, and get
reaching
involved.
out.
Right?
Get involved. Yeah,
Get involved.
absolutely. Get it.
It's one of the safest spaces to, practice your public speaking, network, seek mentorship. So I encourage all young women and even, young individuals to come into the fold and be part of Win Canada. So you better sign up as well.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. I actually went out. I applied for the scholarship to attend the Win Canada conference back in when I was a student in
Yeah.
2018. And it was a really great experience.
Yeah.
It was an awesome experience. Great workshops, um, meeting incredible women from across the industry.
Right.
One of who actually ended up hiring me out of university.
Amazing.
Shout out to Carla Carmichael. So she ended up seeing the potential in me and hiring me out of university. So yeah, I'm a big believer in the organization, and I think you're doing some incredible work.
Thank you.
So really appreciate this chat. I think this was very informative and also very inspiring. Do you have any last thoughts that you'd like to leave with the audience?
My last thoughts with the audience, especially young women, would be curious, be bullish in your approach, and take risks. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in. If you're interested in connecting with Aiman Khan, you can find her information in the contacts below, as well as more information on women in nuclear. Thanks again for watching this podcast. And till then, take care. See you next time.